The Bare Naked Ladies once said, "If I had $1,000,000, I'd be rich."
Not in today's economy.
But seriously, how much would your life change if you had millions of dollars?
What would you do?
Today on Honestly, Dear Listener, we're talking about what holds us back from being the brilliant creatives we were meant to be.
We're two childhood best friends talking about creative mindset.
I'm Emily Hatch.
And I'm Carrie Schaefer, and this is Honestly, Dear Listener.
Honestly, dear listener.
Woo! Here we are, just two dumb moms. We should just rename our podcast
Two dumb
to
moms. Like,
Two Dumb Moms,
it's like four non-blondes,
right?
but meaner.
Or Two Stupid Dogs. Remember Two Stupid Dogs on, I think it was Cartoon Network?
No.
Okay, well, shoot.
And I said, hey, yeah, we're two dumb moms.
Yeah.
I was saying that behind Carrie, it looks like there are two Vienna sausages,
Do you see
like
them?
those
They're right
pillows.
there. If you can't see them,
Also,
these right here.
inquiring minds want to know, do
Mhm.
you know what a Vienna sausage is?
Yeah, we were just talking about this because I feel like we were saying, like, if you're cultured and maybe care about nutrition, you might not know what Vienna sausages are. They're these little, like, pillowy, processed to death meat tubes.
It's like if hot dogs were more gross.
Yeah, and shorter
Mm,
and stuffed into a can.
with jelly. Like,
Yeah,
not jelly like cute, like yum jelly, but like meat jelly.
like
Um,
aspic jelly,
yeah,
like gelatin.
aspic.
Aspic, that's
Put
what it's
the
like, back in the
ass in
day,
aspic.
they used to, like, you remember when they used to encase, like, meat and stuff in, like, gelatin? And it would be like this meatloaf in gelatin?
No,
Do you remember that? It was, like,
no.
I think a thing in the '60s. Anyway, it's called aspic.
It's like Spam, but in
Mhm.
tubey form.
Yeah,
Um,
and they're super cheap,
mhm,
and my grandma used to buy them. My grandma lived through the Depression, so I think she thought that they were very, very posh.
mm.
And we were always like, "Vienna sausages,
That's
She'd
my
like
parents bought them because we were poor. Yeah.
no, she'd, like, spread them as best she could on a cracker, and I was like, you don't spread a hot dog."
Well, you do if it's a Vienna sausage.
You do, I guess. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's where we were at this morning,
Just
y'all.
two dumb moms
Two dumb
and
moms.
their Vienna sausages. Oh my God. Um,
Yep.
yeah, that dumb mom thing, that's a real thing.
It
Um,
really is.
a lot of shit can bring that out. Uh, a break from school, that can make you
Yeah.
feel like a dumb mom.
Yes. I don't know if any of y'all are in the middle of fall break right now, but we are, and I'm dying. I'm dying because all the space that I have during the school year is gone, and I'm constantly interrupted, and I love these people so much, and also, like, they have needs, and I'm like,
Stop.
can't you just go back to school where they're more professional at solving your needs?
I solve your needs at night and on the weekends. It's like,
Right.
you know, like when we were kids, you could have like night and weekend minutes on your phone. Um,
Mhm.
it's like I'm a nights and weekends mom. Could you
Yeah.
just not talk to me at 11?
Yep.
Um,
Well, and then cue the mom guilt, right?
mhm.
So it's like, oh, I feel this way, but I love my kids so much. And I think they're such cool human beings. And like, I am literally obsessed with them.
Mhm.
Like, I see them and I don't know what it is. Like, I go crazy on them. I want to like sniff their scalps. And I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
probably a really disgusting mom too. Anyway, I'm like obsessed with my children. And at the same time, I'm like, I am melting in a puddle of children. Like I am losing the boundaries of myself and melting into them during this fall break.
Uh, the good news is it's temporary. And I know it
I
doesn't feel
know.
like it's temporary. And that's not like to be mean. That's to
Mhm.
say, though, only a few more days of this. And then,
I know.
yeah. And then you can be, they'll be out of school and you could be like me, being like, hello, do you speak to me ever? Do you even like me? No?
Oh.
Okay. So that's what you have to look forward to. Uh,
Oh, man. I can't
then
wait.
instead of mama, I need this, mama, I need that, it's like you're like, "Are you alive?" And they're like, "Yes." Okay.
Oh.
Okay, cool. So that's my fall break. Just my
Oh,
fall
no.
breaking my heart. Um
Oh, shoot.
so yeah,
Oh.
kids are the worst.
Kids
Um
are the worst.
and the best.
They're
And
also the best.
yeah, and we're kids and our
Yeah.
mom is like, "Shut up." And also, "Where are you?" Um,
Yeah.
ugh.
But here's the thing is, like, I remember giving my mom so much space. Like, I remember she was constantly doing, like, little sewing projects or whatever she was doing around the house. She was always making things or setting something up. She was doing things.
Mhm.
And I freaking I left her I leaved it her alone. I did.
I
Both me and my brother, like, we were in our rooms alone with the door shut, in our own worlds, and these kids are like, "Make a world for me," and I'm like, "No, no," or they're begging to be on their screens
mm,
all the freaking time, and guess what their friends are doing? The exact same thing.
mhm.
So if you don't let your kids online, like, texting all day or playing these video games online, then your child is literally left out.
Yeah, you're obviously abusive. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Uh,
I don't know.
I do challenge the I wasn't in your house, but I would challenge the idea that you just gave your mom a lot of space because I would be willing to bet that your mom was like, "Oh my god," a lot. And you're like,
I
"All I do
wonder.
is leave you alone." I'm sure the boys feel like that too. Like, I just
She
leave her alone all the time and
she did say she was not prepared for the amount of noise that I made.
see?
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Like, I'd, like, sing operatically from my room and stuff, like, all the time. Or, like, we had this stairwell in our house. It was right smack in the middle of the house, and I would practice, like, all my music theater songs that are, like, belty,
Mhm.
and it would just, like, reverberate through the whole house as she's trying to make stuff and concentrate, so, like, that's fair.
You were leaving her alone.
I was leaving her alone.
Mhm. Mhm.
I had a friend that came and stayed, like, she lived at our house in college, and she was like, "Carrie, you are so loud." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "You just, like, yell around the house to communicate." And my mom would never let me do that. Like, she would have put a big fat stop to that, and your parents are, like, I guess, pretty used to it or
Mm.
something, and I was like, "I do?" And then the next time I went home, I was like, "Mom!" And I was like, "Oh, no. It's true." So,
See,
yeah, I think you're probably right.
my mom would my mom would be like, "Come in here if you wanna talk to me. Don't just
Yep.
yell." And and then she would call me, and she'd be like, "Come in here if I wanna talk to you." And I'm like, "Wait, this isn't fair. Like, why don't you have to come in here when you wanna talk to me?" And she's like, "Because
Yeah.
I'm the mom." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah,
Um,
I'm the mom. I got that a lot, especially I'm the dad. Oh,
'Cause I said
okay.
so. The best
Ooh.
best response,
Blech.
not inflammatory at all.
No. And it pissed me right off when my parents said it, and then I say it to my own children like it's gonna work or
Mhm.
something, and I see them get mad. I'm like, "I get it, but, oh, I'm the parent, but I get it."
See, I I don't my kid would probably disagree, but I don't think I said that because it
Really?
infuriated me so much when I was a kid that I'd be
Right.
like, I remember once or twice I was like, I know that this is going to make you mad, but I'm going to tell you something. Because I'm an adult, I know some stuff that I can't tell you right now, but I've always been a person who will apologize if I'm wrong about something and always give you an answer and a reason for stuff.
Mhm.
This time, could you please just trust me? Like, I know stuff you can't know. Please just trust me, you
Yeah.
know.
Did that
What a
work?
yes. But now, they don't respond to my text, but it's fine. So what a bitch mom.
Oh, shoot.
What a bitch. Okay, no, it's fine. Welcome to Honestly, Dear Listener, where we work out our parenting woes with you pressing 15 seconds, please, God, let this be over. Um, get on with it. So,
Oh.
speaking of parenting,
Yeah.
um, I got a call recently, uh,
Okay.
and I've been writing that show that I've been talking about, and
Yes.
I got a call that says, guess who gets to do this show in spring of 2026?
You're doing this in Colorado?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Woo!
I'm so stoked and so scared. But now I have to, as they say in Singing in the Rain, at last I can stop suffering and write that symphony. Um,
Nice.
so yeah. uh, I've got to actually do it. It'll be fun. Um, but now how, brown cow? I'm referring to myself when I am talking about a brown cow. Um, so a couple weeks ago, we talked
Mhm.
about what would you do if you had millions of dollars? Let's call it 10.
Okay.
Okay.
So, like, life-changing, but not, like, P. Diddy life-changing.
Ugh.
Wow. Okay.
Carrie.
It's very timely. Okay. Act like I didn't say that.
Oh.
Okay, so, like, pretty life-changing for most of us
Mhm, mhm.
if you got $10,000,000.
Yeah. So I saw this post on Instagram. So this guy's like, what happens 6 months after you get this money? He said 5 million and I'm like, that's not enough. Uh so 10. What happens 6 months after you get that money? So you bought the house, you bought the car, you paid off your debt, you took your parents on vacation, whatever. Um
Right.
now what?
Totally.
Uh
And by the way, they've done studies on this. We've probably talked about it before, but I think it's in the happiness hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt. He talked about how if you have two people, let's say one gets in a car accident and gets injured and is now quadriplegic, and then the other one wins a substantial amount of money in the lottery, right?
mhm.
And they do this at the same time. After a year, their happiness levels will be the same.
Pause. Editing Carrie here. I wasn't able to find the study in the Jonathan Haidt book, which is excellent, by the way. I highly recommend. But I was able to locate the study online and it's linked in the show notes. Okay, back to the show.
Okay, so like you're talking about the period like 6 months to a year after this happens and then basically their happiness meter resets cuz now they've habituated to this large amount of money,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And actually, it's studies have been done that say that people self-destruct when given a lot of
Fascinating.
money.
Why
Uh,
is that, do you think?
I think it might have to do with this. Like, sorry, I had an idea. Let me think. I think it's because money isn't the problem. And you think it
Oh.
kind of goes back to like what we've talked about with when you get what you want.
Uh-huh.
and it's not what you thought it would be.
Oh, that's so painful.
So it's like, okay, when you realize this wasn't the thing that was going to make you okay. Uh,
Right.
so people also like, we come back to what we feel like we deserve. And so we will, if we get that money, we don't feel like we deserve it. We will make ourselves very apparently not deserve it as well. It's like do some really
Wow.
fucked up stuff because we don't think we're worth having that, you know? So like a lot
Right.
of people file bankruptcy. They will like blow through millions of dollars and then end up filing bankruptcy because they really don't think they deserve to not have that worry. I don't know.
Wow.
Um but that being said, what would I do with $10 million?
Yeah. What would you
After
do?
after the car,
Mm-hmm.
which I wouldn't buy because I live in New York. So after the parking space.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, that would
uh
be pretty cool,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Um after the buy an apartment for $1 million, that is still shitty. What I would do, I talked about a couple weeks ago. I think I would hire coaches. Um, I think I would uh, hire like a personal trainer and a cook.
Mm-hmm.
And the cook would need to be cool and let me cook with them sometimes. And I
You're so
would,
Italian.
I just like to. It feels good, but not all the time. Jeez. Um, and then I think I would hire a writing coach to
Mm-hmm.
help me write my stuff, like my show, my stories, whatever, and um, probably pay for the best therapist and medication that money can buy to get my mind right so that I'm not completely fucking terrified to perform my original things. Um, and then I would hire the scenic designer from Stereophonic, which is a show that is closing, I think, fairly soon on Broadway that won a bunch of Tonys, um, to design my show because the vibe that he created there is like so special and so like a home. Even when
Mm.
you're really far away, I would want him to create that for me. So this brings me to another rabbit trail real quick, which is I looked up that guy. He did the scenic design for like a bunch of shit, including SpongeBob musical, like other very notable shows. He's won a ton of Tonys. He's done like 90 productions or something.
Wow.
Um, and he doesn't have that many followers on Instagram. And it turns out one of the people that follows him that he follows back is a person who follows me.
Instant connection right there.
So all I need's $10 million, and I can hire this man to scenic design the show I haven't written. Okay, so that's my plan. Carrie, what would you do?
Oh man. Okay, so it is 5, it's not 10,
Let's
or
call
is
it
it
10.
10?
Let's go 10.
Okay, let's call it 10.
Here we
So
go, 10.
back in the day, 10 used to be a lot of money where you could, and I was actually talking to one of my friends who's a financial planner the other day, and I was like, okay, you are around all this stuff. You're around all the money, and you know how much money it takes to whatever, do your life up good. Do you like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Do your
Yeah.
life up good.
I was like, how much money would it take you being a, she's logical, she knows what's up. How much money would it take you to feel like I'm secure, I'm safe, and I never have to worry about money again? And she said no less than 150 million. Right? And my eyebrows went, huh?
Boink. Yeah.
150 million dollars? Because I'm thinking like 10 million has a lot of money from where I'm sitting. But then when you break down how much you pay for a chef, how much
Mm-hmm.
you pay for all of these consultants to come in. I mean, they're going to, especially in New York City,
Mhm.
they're going to want to get paid,
Mhm.
you know, or if you have them on retainer, whatever it is, all those things are going to cost a lot of money. And that $10 million is going to get drained pretty quickly, I would think, especially if you're buying even, an apartment, even a shitty one
It's
or
at
whatever it is.
least $1 million to buy
The
an
apartment.
apartment. Yeah, and then you have to pay like $800 a month in HOA fees and shit.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay.
But I'm gonna make money too.
Well, right. So I think if I got $10 million, my number one focus would be to grow that wealth.
Mm,
And I would try and figure out how to my answer is so boring.
do it.
I would
Bore
Nah,
me, baby.
I'm just a dumb, boring mom. My my answer is that I would take that money and invest it in the best way I knew how, and then I would let that compound, and then I would live off the interest and not touch the principal.
See, I think a therapist would just be so important. A great therapist, because you would
For sure.
have to be okay with having a lot of money and
Mhm.
not needing it.
Totally. Well,
Do you know, like living still, like being happy, not just
yeah.
using it to make yourself happy. That's what I
But
think.
if you invested it, and how I don't even know how much I am not a financial planner, so I do not know what the interest rate is on $10 million. But I mean, even if you invested that and
Mhm.
just lived off the interest of that,
In this
or
climate, though, I mean, we don't
yeah,
know what the stock market's doing. We don't know what's
that's
going to
true.
happen. You could sink that in and watch it go away.
That's true. So yeah, to answer your question, I think I would hire a therapist because I do have trauma in there that needs to actively be worked on.
In order to
And
not
therapy,
self-sabotage, right?
yeah, and therapy costs a lot of money.
It
Like
does.
I remember when I was paying like $60 an hour for that, like back in the early aughts. And
Mhm.
now it's like upwards of like $200
Mm,
an hour,
mhm.
and that's like standard. I don't know. I'm not going to say they're not worth it, but what I am going to say is that's a lot of money.
And you'd have to like go through a vetting process to make sure they knew how to deal with someone who had come into wealth
Yes.
and what to do with that person's trauma. Um
They've got to have therapists that are specifically for people who win the lottery. That's what they specialize in.
yeah,
It's
that'd
got
be
to it's got to
smart.
be out there.
How much do they charge though? But
10% of what you make.
yeah, I'll get you through this.
Uh-huh.
You stupid rich bitch.
Uh-huh.
I yeah, I kind of feel like so I would invest, but
Mhm.
I would only invest like probably like $2 million. Okay, a little backstory. Italians don't trust the government. Um, so
I don't know why not.
there's a history there of getting totally screwed. Um, Little Italy, by the way, in New York, was just purchased block by block by rich people and then priced the Italians out of their own space. So Little Italy used to be a whole neighborhood and now it's like a street. Um,
Oh my gosh.
so the Italians don't trust the government. And my mom jokes about keeping money in your coat pockets because that's what they used to do. Like my grandparents' generation wouldn't put their money in the bank. They would just put it in their like winter coats in the back of the closet. Um, and so part of me is like, I've watched people's investments just tank and they've lost
Yep.
hundreds of thousands of dollars that they didn't have in retirement funds and everything. So I'm going to tell you, life is short. I think I would invest like $2 million
Hmm.
and see if that would work out. And then I would like ensure that whatever I was doing would be successful to me. And
Mhm.
if I burnt through that shit in like 5 years where, like, who cares, to be honest? Because I didn't have it before. So, like,
Mm.
could I could I use it to become a better person to myself and enjoy my life more and make better things that I couldn't have made before, and then maybe gamble it in the investment thing because crazy
Mm.
Italian coat pockets? Uh, and then if I come out with nothing, well, I had nothing before. I don't know.
There's gotta be like there's gotta be an answer that's just like all around savvy financially.
Mhm.
Like I think the whole like diversify, you don't put all your eggs in one basket kind of a thing
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense. It makes some sense to invest. It makes a lot of sense to invest in yourself as an artist.
Mhm.
And I think I love this idea you talked about getting consultants and like people that are gonna walk alongside you in your creative pursuits. I really like that. Like I almost want a coach, but like not like a life coach. I want somebody that's gonna like their whole job is to run alongside me in my creative pursuits and just be like, "Yep, okay, you know, here's the deal. There's a hill coming up. You've got, you know, some deadlines, but we can do this."
Mhm.
And like they check in with me really often and they're kind of always there and I like them as people to begin with,
Mhm.
but like they're going to be the hype gal
Mhm.
cuz they're going to be a woman,
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
course. Um so they're just going to like hype me up
Yeah.
cuz I feel like sometimes being an artist is lonely.
Mhm.
And it's sometimes, especially at this age, it's hard to find people who will walk alongside you and in their own art. I'm not saying they have to drop everything they're doing and hype me up, as fun as that would be for them. Um, you know, but like it's hard. Like I want to be at the coffee shop with people writing,
Mhm.
but people have their lives.
Mhm.
And so a lot of times I am it's just me and my computer, which is fine. But how I long for creative, um, l like, companionship.
Mhm. Totally. Yeah.
So I guess I would be willing to pay for it.
Man, I'm not above buying some friends to be nice to me. I'm not above it. Like, and I don't mean, well, I mean, maybe I do, friends, but I mean like coaches that
Yeah.
are like, hey, my whole, like, I get paid 100 grand a year to like hang out with this lady and be like,
Mhm.
what's our plan? Awesome. Great. I found this class you should take. Cool. Let's do it. Like,
Yeah.
how's the first draft? You know,
Mhm.
I think
It
that would
just
be a very good use of money.
yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah. I just yeah, I feel like creating a lot of the time is so lonely, and it makes me long for, like have you ever heard of the Bloomsbury Group?
Mm-mm.
It was like a group of writers in England, and it had, like, Virginia Woolf and a bunch of other writers that I can't think of right now, but you probably would have heard of them,
Nice.
you know?
Yeah,
And they
totally.
just, like, all created a like, so much art came out of this collective because they were weirdos, and they were weirdos together. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
were all cross-dressing and, like, making stuff,
Mm.
you know? And it was just it was such a wealth of creativity because you know they were just like rubbing up against each other and creatively,
Mm.
of course, and sparking ideas. They were
Mm-hmm.
like flinting off of each other
Mm-hmm.
and lighting each other's fires. And so I don't feel like this modern life is very conducive a lot of the time for the rubbing up against other people, if you will, and creating sparks.
Yeah. I feel like every episode there's some kind of double entendre that you
Absolutely.
unintentionally, whoa, say, and I can't get over it.
There has to be. There
Yeah,
has to be.
every
It's an Easter
episode.
egg.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's like, where's the Mickey Mouse? So if you had the millions, you could potentially buy yourself a cross-dressing Virginia Wolf pack.
I see what you did there, and I approve.
Like, how many people? You'd have to like pay for marketing to find the
Mhm.
ideal people. Would it be 5? Would you pay them like 100 grand a year for 5 years or something?
I mean, if
You'd
I
have to
were
pay a
living
lawyer to like get a
yeah,
really solid contract with these motherfuckers, because if somebody goes crazy, you don't know what to
right?
do. Yeah.
But, like, isn't paying for friendship and an entourage a little depressing? You know? Like, when you could just, like, have it for free if you just were likable enough that other people wanted to be around you.
I mean, I would pay you to hang out with me. I'd be like, "You don't have to worry about anything. We're gonna
Aw.
we're gonna pay for you to have a nanny for some of this time, and you could just come hang
Yeah.
out with me." Um,
I'd probably have crippling mom guilt, though. So,
yeah, it's true.
can you pay for that? Can
Yes.
you pay off my crippling mom guilt?
Yeah, I think it's therapy and like Xanax. Or just
Excellent. Sounds
no, that
good.
sounds like probably a recipe for disaster. Damn it, we can't solve this problem.
I
Not
know.
here, not now.
I I feel like it's really important to say though that I think we expect money to make us happy. Like our happiness factor needs to go up and stay up. And I kind of maintain like if I'm not happy now before I get dropped with the $10 million, I'm not going to be happy with $10 million. I mean,
Mhm.
like right off the bat, I'll be more excited. My dopamine will be sky high, because I'll be
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, I am now a 10 million millionaire. But ultimately, like, Jonathan Haidt said in his book, like your happiness level will be the same after a year or whatever.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
think that therein lies I mean, that's the real ass kicker right there, and I think why people end up really unhappy and blowing all their money and then filing for bankruptcy is, like, they expect it to change some fundamental thing about how they work,
Mhm.
and I just don't think that money will.
So, what could we do without that money to make sure that we're taking care of our inner creative so that when that money comes, uh,
Mm,
we just
'cause you
get
know it
to
will.
have. Yeah, I've been looking under every rock I find, which in New York isn't a lot of rocks, to be honest. But
Yeah.
uh, what could we do? Okay, I like the idea of a community
Mhm.
that you could find people who want to make space with you to make your things.
Yeah.
Um, I bet you could possibly, like we've talked about, hire a coach to help with some of that stuff.
Mhm.
Maybe not like the world's most expensive coach. I like the idea of community. I feel like you could have that for free if you found some like minded people. Um, I think a coach might be attainable
Mhm.
for some. Figuring out why you're not doing it now.
Mhm.
Because I feel like I've limited myself in my life to being like, okay, well, I don't have things, so I can't make this because I have to have this money before I could do this thing. And then I get better in my financial state or I get better in my time stuff and look who still hasn't done it. So like
Right.
taking the time to figure out why you actually aren't doing it right now
Mhm.
and working on those blocks. I
Yeah,
think
like
that's
what's the payoff for staying stuck?
mhm.
Cuz we wouldn't be staying stuck if there wasn't a payoff
Oh,
of
it's
some
so
sort.
much safer.
Oh, yeah. Because I know what life is like without having done the art,
Mhm.
like that's status quo. And there is a bit of safety in that for sure. But I do not know what it's like putting myself out there repeatedly, submitting to this literary magazine or this publication or whatever it is. And that feels really scary.
Mhm.
Not impossible, but
I was recently talking to someone who really wants to be doing something else with their life than they're doing right now. And I've been like, well, have you submitted videos to these places to do this kind of show? No. Why? I think we're afraid of failing, but I think we're also afraid of succeeding.
absolutely,
And I think
for sure.
money just turns up the burner on that fear of success. Like,
Yeah.
because now there's no excuse.
Ooh, yeah. Yep. No, I think that's a good point.
I recently realized like I could just write my show and I have time. And I'm so busy and so driven and so, doing a million things. I realized I could stop doing a million things, work pretty minimally. I'm very lucky right now. This has not been where I'm at in my life, most of my life, but I could work pretty minimally and just write my show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that makes me want to do?
What?
Lay down. What is that about?
Well, I will say that you don't allow yourself a whole lot of rest.
Yeah, but I don't have to do that. Like, and I think that correlates with this money stuff because you
Mm.
think if I had money, I would have time. And if I had time, I would use that time to
Mm-hmm.
make the things.
Right.
But you might not. So,
Mm-hmm.
how can you make without this money? How can we make the time and space?
Yes.
Will we?
Yeah. I sure
Like
as heck hope so.
how?
This
I,
seems to be both an internal issue and an external issue. The external being how can we do the things in the absence of $10 million, how can we still do the things that we would do maybe more easily if we had money, but how can we do those things now without the money?
mhm,
But there's also the internal issue of I don't I don't know who I am, and maybe if I had money I would know who I
mhm,
am. It would help me understand who I am better. It
mhm,
would make me more confident in going after my dreams. It would kind of prop up my confidence. It would make me happier. Like I would be a different person with money, and I
mm,
just don't think that's the case.
mm,
I think the treatments maybe are different, like the externals become different
mhm.
somewhat because you can afford different things, but you're still left with that same person at the end of the day. Like we are who we are no matter what our bank account looks like,
Yeah.
And I think that that is one of the scariest realizations maybe that people have is like, oh, I'm still me. I thought I would be different.
Mhm.
So, like, figuring out a way to make peace with who we are before the success and before any money happens or comes along. To me, if we're solid in who we are before that happens, then we'll be able to still be solid and happy if it does happen.
Oh man.
So ultimately, we don't need the money.
But I'll take it.
I mean, yeah, well, so will I. If they're handing it out, might as well.
Yeah,
Take
I'll
it off
take it.
someone's hands. Yeah. No, this is really helpful, I think, because we make agreements with ourselves. If I only had blah blah blah, then I would whatever it is. And we have, I believe, everything that we need already. We have to make time for the things we want to do.
Well,
Yeah.
this is the end of Honestly, Dear Listener. We've figured it out.
Everything is solved. So you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the end of our show.
Yeah, season 4, episode 2. We figured it out.
We figure, yes.
Just kidding, friends. We'll see you next week.
Bye, dear listener.
Honestly, dear listener.
Woo!